Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge, and it is time for DZ-BT12 reveals. Today is our first stream reveals of DZ-BT12. Today we're getting some Estacion cards. Yes, Estacion today. Um, and also we're getting the next YouthQuake Volumes promo. So exciting stuff. Before we get into that though, we have like a bit of wrap up to do with Lyrical, just the 3 last cards of the set that were revealed by Card of the Day and when the card list went live. So let's get into that real quick. So first up here we have the Prism support. This is unfortunately they don't have the Prism names. This is one of the really annoying things I find with encounter decks is that like they're so unwilling to just like make cards encounters so that they have like the name that like the archetype cares about and stuff like that. It's just super annoying. Because like as I recall, Prism has like some top seven check, and like that stuff is like so much less reliable because they just refuse to print more names. Anyways, um, when it's placed on rear, during the main phase, you can reveal grade 3 Prism from your right deck, or if you already have a grade 3 or greater Prism Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 to draw a card. Continuous, it gets boost if you have a Prism Vanguard, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 5k, so it's a 15k booster. And when your Prism unit enters the same column as this unit, you may restand it, and if you do, at the end of the turn, you shove it into Soul, and you get to choose one of your rear guards with Prism in its name and add it back to your hand. Really solid card, super solid. Helps you with keeping the prisms in your hand. Gives another 15k to your to one of your attacks, whether it's pre-Vanguard or post-Vanguard. Just super solid numbers on this thing. Very good card. And Quick Whip Lumius. Again, no prism name. During your turn, when this is discarded, you shove it into Soul. And on Rear Guardian, if you have a grade 3 or greater Prism Vanguard, it gets power plus 5k and shield plus 5k. Your opponent also has to be on grade 3 or greater. It's like alright. Nothing super impressive. I'm not convinced that this is the sort of card that would end up making the cut. But the first card is super good. Very solid cards. And then we have the last rare. This just bulk rares. Generic. Ancient Waitress. What is that? Parnell-Shea. So this is when it's retired from rearguard by a card effect. You Soul Blast 1, add to hand. Just awful. Really bad. Like, this is the sort of effect you'd expect in the first year of D, and we're in 2025. We're approaching the end of DZ. Like, this is not worth using at all. Especially in Lyrical, a deck that has, like, tons of decks in Lyrical have no problem just bouncing their stuff. It's a grade 2/2. Like, really bad card. Not even worth considering ever. All right, let's get into the new cards. First up, oh, this is the wrong one. Well, not the wrong one exactly, but I forgot that I need to pull up the promo. So this is Oath of Wickedness. It's a grade 2 Dark States order. You choose one of the following. You either draw 1, soul charge 1, or if you have a Vanguard with Paimonias in its name, you search your deck for Swordsman Contract with the Demon Mizel and call it to rear, and then shuffle your deck. So the generic effect of this, nowhere near as good as like Habitat or Nebula Knights, like nowhere near as good. But what's more notable is that this references very specific names, which might suggest that Paimonias is in set 12, which would be interesting because it's a pretty safe bet that Amon will be in set 12, so that would mark a third ride line. We already have Chronojet support confirmed for this as well, and spoiler alert, next week we are getting a Heart LaRue support, including a triple rare. So, so like Dark States is almost certainly getting the same treatment that Keter got in DZ9, where Keter ended up getting 5 triple rares, um, because of Minerva, Platina Ezel, Vivini, Dissection Angel, and Nebula Knights. Or was Vivini a double rare? It might have been 2 Nebula Knights triple rares. I don't remember which. But like, because of the new ride line, plus Minerva, plus Platina Ezel, plus a generic, Keter ended up getting 5 triple rares. And we're likely going to see the same thing happen with Dark States, with with the Demon Castle deck already being confirmed, almost certainly getting 2 triple rares. Amon probably being there as well. Heartlure getting a triple rare, and maybe Paimonias. Maybe both Amon and Paimonias will be 1 triple rare decks. Okay, yeah. So I double checked. And Nebula Knights only got 1 triple rare in set 9. And Vivini was a triple rare, as I thought. So that might mean we're looking at 2 triple rares for Demon Castle, because like one of the cover decks of the set, there's no way they give it as a 1 triple rare. Then Amon with 1 triple rare being Amon himself. Paimonias with 1 triple rare being Paimonias himself. And then the Heartlure triple rare, and that would give us 5. I doubt they're going to go to 6. But this would be a way to pull it off. They could also go the really unhinged route, which is Paimonias is in the set. However, Paimonias himself is only a double rare. That would be quite unhinged, so I'm not expecting that. But Dark States is quite packed in this set. Very, very packed. But there's also the part where in the past, when these YouthQuake promos that are tied into a YouthQuake archetype are coming out around the same time as their deck is coming out, they tend to reveal the promos in the same stream that they're revealing that deck. It's not like this manga volume is coming out before then. It comes out in like early December, so they still have like a full month to reveal Paimonias, and reveal this promo alongside it. So I don't know. I don't know. Because this could have literally just been a Paimonias stream. They could have literally just done that. But they didn't. But it would also be very strange for us to wait until what, the next non-anime set for us to get the cards that this card references. Like, that would be super strange. That would be incredibly strange for them to do. So I'm going to assume that Paimonias is going to be in DZ9, but it would be very strange for Amon to not be in this set, because every single time an encounter has shown up in the Skyride manga, it has been tied into a upcoming release of some kind. There is the Dayusha player in the tournament arc, that happened around when DZ3 came out. Then there was the member of Blast who used Maelstrom, and showed off Glory Maelstrom and Dancing Cutlass around DZ6's release. Then, of course, we have Alfred and the Overlord promo around Festival's release, and around when the Overlord promo itself came out shortly after. And like, Amon is the most detailed one we've gotten so far. Like, straight up just wrote out the card text of Amon in the manga chapter. Like, it would be super, super strange for Amon to not be in this set. So like, I don't know what to make of this. I think we might actually be looking at a 3 ride line set. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here. With that said, let us actually talk about the Estacion cards. The Estacion cards. So both the triple rare and the double rare are blast cards. So that's of note, which means they can be called off of Estacion's on attack. Very important. Well, not so important for this first one. So this first one's a grade 1 triple rare. And when it's discarded from your hand during your ride phase, and you have Yeah. During your ride phase, and you have a Vanguard with Estacion in its name, you call up to one plant token onto your rearguard circle. So that's a pretty good discard effect. And then it has two different modes it can be used for from the drop. Either if you have a greater Vanguard with Estacion in its name, you can call up to two plant tokens onto rear. And you cannot bind cards with this card name for the rest of the turn. So that just gives you, like, if you're going into your grade 3 Estacion turn, you discard this and you call out a plant, and then you bind it to call two more. That's a full stage on the blast token scaling, which is pretty solid. And then its second drop zone effect is when your grade 3 or greater Estacion Vanguard is attacked, you can bind it to give your Vanguard plus 10k power for that battle, and you cannot bind cards with this name for the rest of this turn. So this is a really nice card. This is a very good discard fodder effect. You get complete, like, there's a lot of value you're getting from this card for just completely free. Just completely free value off of this card, which is very, very nice. Good defensive value, good also helps you skill up your offenses with the blast token. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, let me remind myself of something about the blast token. Okay, yeah, I need to double check the effect to throw stuff into its gauge from your field is once per turn. But this makes it easier to fulfill that, which is quite nice. Like, this card seems super, super solid. Yeah. Then for the double rare, we have a grade 2. Also a blast race card, of course. Much more relevant for that factor. Than the grade 1. When it attacks a Vanguard and you have a greater Vanguard with Estacion in its name, it gets power plus 5k, and then at the end of the battle, you retire it and draw a card. And then when it's placed onto Guardian Circle and you have a blast token, choose an opponent's rear, and during this turn, its original power becomes 5k. So both of these effects are pretty nice. The first effect is just some like boulder axe stuff, like, pretty nice with the sort of power scaling to the front row that the blast token gives you. Pretty solid. And like the ability to call out something that's going to draw you a card off of the stations on attack is pretty nice for like a lower to the ground 4 attack version of the stratagem. And then the second effect is like basically a fancy 10k shield that can be worth more. It also has a very funny interaction into Cinceret in the Leonord matchup, where Cinceret changes the original power to 15k or 20k, and you can drop it back down to 5k with this. Which, if you do that early in the turn, that takes a lot of power out of Leonord's swings. So that is quite notable. Also notable is that this can apply to something that isn't part of the current attack. So like if you only need 5k more to guard this current attack, you can guard with this and then target the next attacker and drop it to 5k. It's also more than a 10k shield because this drop is going to persist on any restands of that rear guard. So like there's a lot of pretty good defensive value you can get out of this effect. So it's pretty nice. Very, very nice effect. I like this card quite a lot. It's doing quite a bit. Not live turn 2, of course, but like even then, even at that stage, you can use it as an interceptor to get that effect. Like there's a lot good about this card. I like this card quite a lot. Very, very nice card. And then lastly, we have a grade 1 rare, Conservation Elf. When this is placed on Guardian Circle and you have a blast token, it gets shield plus 5k. If you have 8 or more plant gauge, you can Soul Blast 1 for plus 15k shield instead. So 20k shield is nothing to shake a stick at. That is really good defensive value. If a long game version of Blast ends up being like a reality at some point, I could see this maybe being something, because by the time you're on grade 3, you should be able to maintain 8 plant gauge without too much difficulty. So this is not too bad of a condition. So you just get Soul Blast 1, 20k shield, grade 1, which is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Hmm. I don't think like this definitely isn't something that you automatically put in the deck, but like this is I don't think this is like a chaff comment because 20k shield is very premium. Um it is not something that you commonly get access to. So getting that plus both of these other cards also having defensive modes is like really nice stuff. Really nice stuff going on here. Also, shout out to like in the later stages of the game with this grade 1, you can guard with it for 5k, and then later in the turn bind it for 10k, which is also very nice. Like these cards are super nice. I like these cards quite a lot. Um, so next week, let me pull up the thing. All right, so next week, we have 3 new cards. We will be getting a triple rare and a double rare for Heart Lure. Happy Toys. Um, like like this grade 1 here is probably the new triple rare, which is a bit spooky. The grade 1 is definitely like this section of the board setup that has the most space for you to put things because block course doesn't really contribute to your offenses. You don't really have something that wants to go in the center back row. Like the ride line grade 1 wants to, but that's for an on place. Nothing that like really does anything during your opponent's turn. Um, Having more names does open up the possibility to just like go all names, which will boost the consistency of the set order even higher. Because the consistency of seeing 2 on the set order is not super high right now with only 16 names available. Um, as far as like things that the deck would really appreciate, I think one of the biggest things the deck would appreciate is something that can like look for Heart Luru itself for Persona Ride consistency. Um because like its numbers do feel quite dependent on Persona Ride. So that like if we're trying to improve the deck, that is something um that I could see happening. And then we're also getting a Messiah double rare. Since Messiah's card is a double rare, I think it's a pretty safe bet that the Chronojet card we're getting on Tuesday is also I actually did they say multiple Chronojet cards? I don't remember. But assumingly the highest rarity card there will also be double rare like the Messiah card because they're paired strides. Um so that leaves the space for us to go 2 cards for Demon Castle, 1 Paimonias, 1 Heartler Rare, and 1 Amon for 5 Dark Sage Rares. Since we're getting a Messiah and Chronojet stuff, I am definitely expecting that we will see more significant support for Shiranui and Luard in this set. And I assume that those would be in True slots. Like, I assume we'll be getting, like, a new Stride. And, like, we don't really have... Yeah, we don't have anything going on. We don't have anything announced so far for this set in either Dragon Empire or Keter Sanctuary. So those Jabura slots are just completely wide open at the moment. So that's what I would expect to be happening there. Like, probably a Stride as well as a support rearguard for both of those. And then like if we're not doing generics this set, which the amount of Dark Stage rares we're already seeing definitely suggests we aren't. If we're not doing generics this set in rare, then the third Keter rare would probably be a Nebula Knight support card, and then the third Dragon Empire rare would probably be a Sibyl support card. Yeah, so then Stoicha could get Belger to rare for its 3rd slot. And then Brantgate. Oops. Yeah, we don't have anything. No clues what we could be getting for Brantgate because this Messiah is a double rare. Actually, we have no hints of anything from Brandgate. I don't think we have any indication of a deck from either manga for Brandgate. We don't have a new deck from the last non-anime set for Brandgate to really give significant support to. Like, Kaiser was more dimensional robo support, so it might get a rare here, it might not. Could really go either way. So what I'm thinking is that spot is suspiciously open for an encounter. And if we're giving a encounter to Brandgate, in my mind, it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be Nova Grappler finally getting an encounter deck, which I imagine would be like a Surikaiser, since that's like the classic Kamui boss, even though he only uses it in like one on-screen fight. And it could be a Surikaiser. But what I think is way more likely is we see a Chaos Breaker. Because, okay, we have established lock in the format. We've given it a number of months to settle, for people to be like, okay, this is fine. This isn't a big deal. We can deal with this. So now we do Chaos Breaker. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think that would make a lot of sense to be here. Because we have, like, nothing for Brandgate at the moment. Yeah, we might actually be seeing Chaos Breaker here. All right. Yeah, that's going to be it for me for today. This is going to be Hunter Surge signing off.